Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:35. And Van Halen with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Well, we're dealing with a heat wave here throughout the Pioneer Valley. It's going to be sunny and a high of 18 today. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 27. It's -7. It's so cold, it's snowing in Louisiana.
So on this side of the room, I'm at -3.
I got -7 for Springfield, Massachusetts.
You know, it's funny. When it's -7 or -3,
yeah,
it still feels the same way. There's like you don't feel any warmer at -3.
No, I mean, I can tell the difference between 7 and 3.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
Your chance at Code Word Alexa coming up later on this morning. We'll give you the code word of the day. You'll want to plug it into rock102.com, and then maybe you'll be a big winner.
The dew starts frosting on the tip of the rose, if you know what I'm saying.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you loud and clear. So there's that and a lot of other stuff coming up this morning.
What was the ice guy in Heat Miser, and what was the other one?
Heat Miser and Freeze Miser.
Was it Freeze? Really?
I think so.
I don't know, but
we'll look it up.
Hair like that on me looks like his face.
Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:51. I just had a flashback, too. And Def Leppard with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Now hear this. Your Pioneer Valley forecast is going to be sunny with a high of 18. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 27. It is -7 in downtown Springfield.
Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons. Call them for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So, from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
So, a couple of months ago, Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins,
right?
Or, well, used to be from the Smashing Pumpkins. Now he's just Bill William Corgan. He changed his name or whatever it is.
Right.
He told Howie Mandel that comedian Bill Burr could very well be his half-brother. Did you hear anything about this?
I did not.
Yeah, this is crazy. With Burr as the latest guest on his podcast, Mandel, which I didn't even know Howie Mandel had a podcast.
Oh,
but I
yeah.
guess everybody does.
Everybody does.
Mandel surprised the funny man with a visit from the Smashing Pumpkins frontman, leading to a meeting of the two Bills. On the November episode, Mandel's production team erroneously put up a photo of Burr during Corgan's turn on the podcast, leading the alt-rock legend to disclose that he may be related to his celebrity look-alike. They look exactly alike if you put them side by side, and that's exactly what they did yesterday on this podcast. They put the two of them together, and it's almost unmistakable that they have to be related.
I never noticed it before, but I suppose when you do, they look similar.
They look well. Here's more of the story. Billy Corgan says, most of my friends don't even know this story. About 10 years ago, one of my brothers was having a birthday party, and my stepmother was there, who was obviously married to my father, and my stepmother said to me, "Do you know who Bill Burr is?" Now, at that point, I had never heard of Bill Burr. I didn't even know who he was. I didn't know he was a comedian or anything. He could have just been a guy down the street. Well, the singer continued, I thought the first thing she was going to say was, "Oh, I thought you'd notice the resemblance." She goes, "I think it might be one of your father's illegitimate children. Bill Burr might be one of the children that your father sired in his days of being a traveling musician." This is a true story. I'm not making this up. There is no joke in this. And fast forward to the new episode of the Howie Mandel Does Stuff podcast, and 30 minutes into the conversation with Burr, he goes, "I got something special that I planned for you." What is he, turning into Maury all of a sudden? At which point he brings out Corgan, who walks over and greets Burr, who said, "What's up?" And then and says, "You're an a-hole," to Mandel.
Well, everybody thinks that.
Mandel quips, "I thought you'd be cool with me bringing the family together." Burr then went on to chastise Corgan for letting the family secret out of the bag. Did you ever think the fact that I never told this story that maybe you shouldn't? Burr laments as he confronts Corgan. It's not that I don't like Billy. It just reminds me of all of that crap that that is kind of a bad ambush to do to somebody.
Yeah, especially since in most cases when biological families get together.
Yeah.
That's after a little bit of negotiation to make sure that everyone's cool with that idea.
Right. And throughout the conversation, Burr plays along with Corgan's story as the pair come off as bickering brothers. At one point, Mandel tells Corgan that he should let his brother Burr play drums in the band, and Corgan responds, "The fact that he said he can't sing, I think disproves that we're related, because I'm not funny, and he's not a musician. It goes both ways." Burr then wonders what Mandel wanted to come out of the meeting, hilariously telling the host, "What was supposed to happen? Are we going to go play catch? We're in our 50s. It's not going to happen." And at one point, Mandel leaves the two alone, and the conversation continues for a while, with each of them talking about their relationship with Dad.
Is it the same dad?
They think it is. They haven't done any kind of DNA testing or anything like that, but because of the connections of the mother and of Billy's mother, and the guy that she had sex with was the traveling musician, could make sense.
Billy Corgan's going to really do nothing with this information, but Burr could probably do good 45 minutes just on this alone.
I'm sure he will. See, this is how you get new material.
This is it. Allowing situations to dictate where you're going to go.
And nobody ever finds out at the end of this episode if they are actually half-brothers, but perhaps the bigger question is whether Howie Mandel is related to Disturbed singer David Draymond. Now, those two look alike, but only because Mandel lost all his hair. I think isn't that kind of...
Probably.
Yeah.
But the Burr-Corgan thing, I'm looking at a side-by-side shot right now.
It's uncanny, isn't it?
There's some similarities there.
It's kind of weird.
Hard to argue. Shape of the head, space of the eyes, ears. They both have ears.
Well, here's some good news. If you like paying for stuff, the price of Netflix is going up for the first time since October 2023.
Perfect.
Even the ad-supported plan is being hiked from $6.99 to $7.99. The standard ad-free tier is jumping by $2.50 from $15.49 to $17.99.
God, I'm going to have to pick up some extra hours.
And the premium plan is going from $22.99 to $24.99. The cost of adding an extra member to a primary account is going up too, from $7.99 to $8.99. Netflix says, quote, "As we continue to invest in programming and deliver more value for our members and, well, our CEO needed another yacht. We occasionally ask our members to pay a little more so we can reinvest to further improve Netflix."
Remember when Netflix came out, like after they stopped doing the DVD by mail thing? Mm-hmm. And everybody thought it was really cool. Oh, streaming's the next big thing. Cable sucks. Let's get rid of cable. Let's stream.
Yeah.
Guess what's every bit as expensive as cable? Streaming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on what you want to watch.
Well, you can't just have Netflix. You need the Hulus. You need the Maxes. You need everything.
I pay for one at a time, and I piggyback off the other ones.
That's the way to do it.
So I pay for HBO Max currently.
Everyone's going to get their yacht, even if you share passwords.
But now I'm going to cancel that and probably get Paramount, because there's a lot of stuff on there that I've been wanting to see.
And when you add it all up, you're paying almost as much as you were for cable.
If you were to buy all of them, yeah.
Sure,
but
right.
I'm not interested in buying all of them. And, of course, Amazon keeps going up.
I've got enough of them. I'm not going to add any more.
Listen, say all you want about Amazon and the Jeff Bezos thing. I watched One Crazy Summer yesterday.
Really?
I haven't seen that movie in forever. That's actually a very funny movie.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
How come that never won an Oscar or one of those things?
Comedies don't get Oscars.
Well, they should.
They typically don't.
Well, Titanic got one.
And I laughed and laughed.
Oh, man, when that boat went down, oof. That was hilarious.
Sure was.
Him hanging on to that little raft and then falling into the sea.
Hysterical.
That was like he was like the Charlie Chaplin of the 90s. That
he really was a physical comic.
Leonardo. Kim Kardashian is in some new movie about lawyers, and the trailer shows her crying and her face is sopping wet.
Huh. She must have something to say.
Oh my God, the last time my face was so wet like this was when Ray J gave me the pump and stuff surprise with his bed relish and that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95. Did you ever have bed relish? No. Dill or sweet?
I prefer the dill.
Yes, me too.
Kaylin?
Well, I never got that down and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but I once gave her a fresh batch of gonad gravy. A little shaver's gurn from the spanker chief.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is by the time I was done, it felt like I was eating out of a butcher's dustbin. This is all theater of the mind.
It really
Bax. You
is.
got to put yourself in a butcher shop and in the dustbin.
I'm way ahead of you. I've already done it.
The meat. And that's your Hollywood trash on Rock 102.
You want to catch
Daniels calling the play.
Now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? As you know, we live in a world where nothing really matters until you can post it on an Instagram reel or on TikTok. Everything beyond that is largely irrelevant. And so, when you're innocently doing things that, like, putting yourself at great physical risk or acting up in a public setting or behaving in a way that lends itself to widespread mockery, then you can assume that somebody, somewhere, is going to get it all on video and launch it online for the Chinese government to see. This is why, if I were the head coach of a top 20 Division I college basketball program, I would probably ease up on some of my most potentially viral behavior. For example, last night, UConn Huskies head coach Dan Hurley was caught on camera berating an official late in the first half for failing to call a foul during their 80-79 point win over Butler. Now, in fairness, this sort of verbal blow-up is not exactly new territory for Dan Hurley. Red-faced sideline tirades are practically his calling card. However, during this exchange with the official, Dan Hurley made the following statement, and I quote, "Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best effing coach in the sport." Now, I'm no expert in these kinds of things, but that's the sort of notable quotable that could follow a guy around for a while. Because you see, one could argue that, in fact, he is not the best effing coach in the sport. He just happens to be the one that the cameras follow. After the game, Dan Hurley explained that he wished they would just show other coaches losing their minds at officials, and that he was simply trying to establish a better line of communication with the ref. Dan, listen to me. I'm pretty sure that if you were the best effing coach in the sport, the official would already know that. But even the best effing officials can walk away from the best effing coaches when the best effing coaches act like the biggest effing idiots. And that is why everybody in America is watching that video of you and your possibly bloated, out-of-control ego losing their minds against an official last night, whereas Butler's head coach, Thad Matta, who lost, did not. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. $20 get you the 20-ounce DeWalt Rip Claw hammer. It's the $20 tool sale at Rocky's. Rip Claw deals on hand tools, DeWalt, Craftsman, Milwaukee. Nail the best deals on tools right now by going to your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102?
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:11, and Brian Adams with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is a cold one out there again today. Sunny with a high of 18. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 27. It is still showing -7 on the Weather Channel here in downtown Springfield.
Yeah, I got it's so cold my Apple Watch isn't even registering the temperature. Like, it doesn't want to deal with negatives. It just
Doesn't
says
care.
no. It doesn't care. It's saying get inside. It's too cold.
Honey Badger don't give an F is what happens.
It's the truth.
I have an official announcement from Get the Lead Out. If you were looking forward to seeing the concerts this weekend, there was one in Plymouth and Springfield. Mm-hmm. Those have been postponed.
Come on.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is an official announcement from the Get the Lead Out mailing list. We regret to inform you that our upcoming shows this week have been postponed. As you know, Paul Sinclair has been dealing with a respiratory infection. While he's on the mend and making great progress, we've decided to err on the side of caution to ensure his voice is fully recovered and protected before he returns to the stage. Given our upcoming schedule, we've decided this is the best course of action. If you are a ticket holder, here's the important part. They're working to reschedule all the shows and will provide more details on the new dates soon. So don't rip up the tickets like your horse just lost at the track. You're not supposed to do that. Please hold on to your tickets as they will be valid for the new dates. Refunds will be available at the original point of purchase. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. That really, it sucks because I was really looking forward to going to that. But, I mean, obviously the guy's got a respiratory infection. That's not something you just recover from, especially if you're belting out I don't know, any number, rock and roll, for God's
Sure.
sakes, just screaming.
But on the other hand, you as the consumer, did you buy those tickets or did you finagle a free pair?
Oh, I finagled a free pair by offering an interview to the dude who
I see.
did that. Yeah,
Well, let's just say you weren't in a position to get something for free and you actually paid for it.
yeah.
You're going to show up regardless of how you feel, even if you have to mask or socially distance. You're putting in your effort. Where's this guy's effort?
He's a sick man, Bax. You gotta let him recover.
You
for
telling me
God's sake.
Robert Plant ever said, you know what, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to perform tonight because I got a little tickle on the back of my throat?
Actually, he probably has done that several times throughout his career. I can't imagine that Robert Plant powers through a respiratory infection.
And
Just to
risk
sing.
and risk the opportunities to have indiscriminate sex with undefinable partners in the back of the bus? I don't think so.
How do you think other people get infected?
It wasn't a throat infection.
Oh, I got Robert planted in the tour bus. She's got like kennel cough now
Listen.
because of that whole thing.
I read Hammer of the Gods like everybody else, and I'll tell you what, he didn't. He may have had the sniffles on the night of the mud shark.
No, he did not. I guess he was well rested for that night.
I guess.
But so if you had tickets to get the let out, just hang on to the tickets. They will reschedule the shows. And as I was really looking forward, I was going to take my kid because she's getting into the Led Zeppelin stuff.
Is she really?
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, I have all the albums at home. I have all that stuff, and we have a turntable. And
You got Led Zeppelin 1?
I do.
Got number 2?
I do.
3?
I do.
4?
Yeah.
The other one?
Houses of the Holy.
The one that came after that?
Yeah, you got them all. It's all
Wow.
Physical Graffiti. Yeah, we got them all.
What about Presents?
Presents?
You ever listen to that one?
No.
I have all of them.
Well, I have some of them. No, I have the ones that it introduces you to the band.
I see.
Yes, doing that kind of thing. So there you go. That's all I have for that announcement. Go back to talking about protecting your information. With people getting scammed and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, people get scammed. It's because they did something that they shouldn't have been doing, like using a PIN number like 1234. That's probably not the best.
Are you
PIN
sure?
Yeah,
Because that's the PIN number I use for all of my purchases and all of my various passwords.
Yeah. There was a new report released yesterday by Data Genetics. I've never heard of them before, but they have a good point. A new report looked at the most common 4-digit PINs for things like ATM passwords and unlocking your phone. 6969 made the top 10.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, all right. They didn't have access to people's current passwords, obviously. They came up with the list by looking at pins that have been exposed on the dark web. I have that monitoring service that tells me if my info has been leaked on the dark web. And there's been 2 instances now where that has happened.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of things are you doing that's interesting to the dark web?
It's not about interest. Because they want to steal your information and they want to get, your social security number and all that stuff. And and the problem is this reporting system that I have, which is through it's like a credit card kind of reporting system thing. They don't tell you what website it was that was compromised. So you have to figure out what was that password that I used? This is why it's so important to keep changing your password all the time.
Yeah.
Because if you have a password, and it was a password that I had used probably 15 years ago, so the good thing is it's probably, it's not like you can log into other stuff, but they're hackers. I mean, that's what they do. They can,
True.
Nothing is foolproof, but it's always a good idea to change your password. The most popular passwords aren't ones experts would suggest using. Here's the 10 most common 4-digit PINs in America. 1234 is number 1.
Okay.
That is the stupidest password you could ever come up with.
All right. I'll start changing them today.
If you guess that one, you've got a 1 in 9 chance of being right. 11% of all the 4-digit passwords they found were 1234.
Because it's easy to remember.
I know.
That's the problem. If you're going to keep changing your passwords, I have changed my password on things and immediately forgot it.
Well, you have to write it down, too.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
what I do.
But I'm more afraid people are going to break into my house to steal my passwords than break into my computer to steal them.
What's this notebook that says list of important passwords to remember? My dad used to do that. He used to write down, but that was before, like, you really had to start using a lot of different passwords for things. It wasn't like,
we got to change our passwords here periodically, too.
Yeah.
And this was maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Changed my password. And, I had to. The password protocols have changed. It used to be, could be any length. Now it's got to be like 12 letters, including numbers and some sort of punctuation mark. Well, I did all that stuff, but then because it's 12, it's too much for me to remember, and I got locked out of the system because I kept plugging it in the wrong way.
1111, that made up 6% of all passwords.
1111.
Yep. All zeros was number 3. 1212 was number 4. All sevens was number 5.
Mm-hmm.
So lucky sevens until someone drains your bank account.
I suppose. That's not so lucky.
1004, as in 10-4, good buddy.
That's a good one.
Yeah. 2000, 4444, 2222, and then 6969 was the 10th one of the top 10.
Interesting that 2112 isn't on that list. That was such a good Rush record.
Now, it was a good
It was. It was. Oh yeah, it was the best one.
If you want one that's harder to guess, they also looked at the least common pins. Why are they releasing what the numbers are?
So we can ruin those.
The top 3 on that list are 8068, 8093, and 9629. But maybe don't change any of those because hackers going to see that list as well. In general, the most people start with their pin number between 1 and 5. Very few start with 6, 7, 8, or 9, or 0.
Interesting.
So,
I would imagine that your birth date, month and day, probably not real great either. And a good hacker could probably figure out, if you put in your year of your birth.
Yeah. I think I can guess yours.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. You're not the typical type. You're more the one with a sweet tooth.
Isn't that obvious?
It's Bosco!
No.
Bosco! So, be smart about it and start changing your password because otherwise it's going to be a mess for you.
It's 6:20 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
With my wedding.
27 and Allison Chains with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be sunny today. The high of 18 tomorrow, sunny with a high of 27. It's -7 in downtown. I'm sorry, -8 just turned 2.
Wow, it's got even colder.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Lisa DeMario of Southwick. She won herself an Amazon Echo Pop by listening to yesterday's show. We're giving out a different code word at 7:50 each weekday morning. Then you go to rock102.com after hearing the word. Put it in before noon each day for your chance to win the code word for wording an Amazon Echo Pop. We'll choose a winner every weekday afternoon. So make sure you're listening for 7:50. And congratulations again to Lisa of Southwick for winning an Amazon Echo Pop from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
That sounds like one of those Italian names you hear a guy in a bar going, yeah, you ever go to school with Lisa DeMario?
Yeah.
I heard she won an Amazon Alexa over there on that Rock 102.
I heard she won a Lexus from Rock 102.
Oh, my God. She was the luckiest gal ever. She was the prom queen, and now she's winning a Lexus from Rock 102.
No. I heard she won a Bowflex. That's what I heard she won.
About Lisa DeMario. Everybody give her a big round of applause. Hey! Ready to laugh?
Yes.
All right, there we go.
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
on Rock 102,
I make you laugh.
Springfield's Classic Rock.
So a religious man is wondering if having sex on the Sabbath is a sin because he's not sure if sex is work or pleasure. He says, on the seventh day you're supposed to rest and all that stuff.
Right.
So he goes to a priest and asks for his opinion on the question. And after consulting the Bible, the priest says, my son, after an exhaustive research, I am positive that sex is work and therefore not permitted on Sundays. And the man thinks, what does he know about sex, this guy? Right? So he goes to a Lutheran minister who, after all, is a married man and experienced in the matter, right? He queries the minister and receives the same reply. Sex is work and therefore not for the Sabbath. And he's not pleased with that either. Right?
Okay.
So he seeks out a rabbi, a man of 1,000 years of tradition and knowledge. And the rabbi ponders the question, then states, my son, sex is definitely pleasure. And the man replies, Rabbi, how can you be so sure when all the others tell me that sex is work? And the rabbi says, my son, if sex was work, my wife would have the maid do it. How do you get so rich you got a maid doing things for you? That's a pretty good church over there.
Good. Okay. 7:31 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Due to the cold weather, some schools have announced a 2-hour delay to keep kids out of the dangerous temperatures this morning. Schools across Western Mass have 2-hour delays due to low temperatures. I don't know why they felt like they had to need to reiterate that in a different sentence with different words, but school is now delayed for 2 hours in some areas.
Okay. Not everyone. Not everyone's got it.
One statement would be just enough. I'll read that again. Due to the cold weather, some schools have announced 2-hour delays to keep kids out of the dangerous temperatures Wednesday morning. Schools across Western Massachusetts have 2-hour delays Wednesday morning due to low temperatures. But are the schools delayed because of the low temperatures?
Well, I can tell you this. Of those schools that are delayed because of the low temperatures, many of them will experience a 2-hour delay in opening of school this morning.
The problem, and then they have this young gal, Julia O'Keefe, standing out there.
Yeah, she's outside Central High School. She's probably freezing her chops off.
Why do they do that?
I don't know.
What is the point of you can do that from the warmth of the cold studio that they have over at 22.
I mean, don't they have like a fireplace over there? And they'll say like Rich Tenenbaum throws a log on the fire and warms his toes, drinking hot cocoa.
Like Andy Williams.
Yeah, right.
Rich Tenenbaum is kind of like the Andy Williams of 22 News.
It's true.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. But sending a young reporter out to a place that's too cold to send children, having just graduated high school about 6 hours ago. I don't know if that's the right thing to do for somebody. Learning their chops in their early broadcast career.
Well, she forgot her notebook inside. She has to go get it to study for the test. Just because it's a 2-hour delay doesn't mean studying stops.
I know, but 2 hours is 2 hours.
Freezing temperatures are sweeping through Western Massachusetts, causing many car batteries to die and tires to go flat. My little tire light came on this morning.
Oh, I hate that.
Did yours?
No.
Really?
No, my tires are all set. Seem to be working quite well.
Cold, snowy, and icy conditions can have a significant impact on how your vehicle operates. The best way to prepare your car for this weather is to keep up with maintenance. The service manager at City Tire, Mike Lapete, says the first thing to do is check your car battery, which is if you push the button and it doesn't start.
Pretty good chance.
You may have a dead battery because of the cold.
I put in my car's got an automatic starter, so I hit it maybe like 15 minutes before I went out.
Yeah.
This morning it was so cold.
How cold was it?
It was so cold it didn't warm up anything.
It didn't warm up anything?
The inside was like starting to get warm.
Oh.
But there was like a 2-inch portion of the windshield which it was starting to melt.
Yeah.
So even after 15, it was so cold. Even after 15 minutes of letting that thing idle and burn a hole right through the ozone, it wasn't getting the maximum strength that it needed to do to get everything cleared and ready to go.
I let my car Billy idle. And
really?
And it said more, more, more. That's what it said this morning.
Well, good thing you didn't get into an accident. And all of a sudden, the cop showed up and says, is he okay? He's got eyes without a face.
Oh, man. It's the most horrific accident I've ever seen.
And there's a bottle of Rebel Yell on the floor.
Right. The guy from City Tire says, battery is a big thing. You want to make sure you have a fully charged battery because the last thing you want is going out in the morning and your car doesn't start. Cold weather will definitely kill the battery overnight. It's good to have it checked regularly, especially in the cold winter months. That is true.
It's not wrong.
That's why you get AAA. Everybody should have a AAA membership. I fully believe in the AAA folks.
Oh yeah,
they do a good job, and they come right out. Well, I guess depending on what time of day it is.
It depends if everybody else is calling them.
Yeah.
Like on a day like today, you may find that there may be some delays in AAA service because there's a lot of other people experiencing the same problems that you're experiencing.
I got to get a new battery for my truck. It's not firing up now.
I got some 9 volts in the
No.
in the desk.
It's a little bit older, so I need a new one, which kind of stinks because I'd really like to drive it right now, but you can't
Yeah.
because it won't start.
Well, I'm sure that the minivan
That thing fires right up.
fires right up. Probably works very well in the snow.
Now you're gonna jinx it on me.
I'm not jinxing nothing. I'm just saying that's a good high quality, very very masculine minivan.
And that's just one of the many steps to check off when you winterize your car. Mechanics say you can protect your car in freezing temperatures by checking your tire pressure regularly and topping off car fluids like antifreeze and oil. You know what is the most annoying thing ever?
What?
Are those the air pumps at gas stations? The ones that make you $3 to put air in your tire.
Yeah.
You only get 5 minutes. I mean, I guess depending on how flat your tire is, you probably don't need all 5 minutes. But still, you're racing against the clock for that $3 that they charge you.
And because people don't carry a lot of loose change anymore, now you can swipe a credit card in some of these things. Like I'm gonna pay interest on air.
Yeah,
please.
And most of the time, they don't even work. They don't.
It's true. Actually, my wife got one a while ago, and it's a brilliant idea. It is a tire pump that you plug into your lighter.
Oh yeah,
in the car,
yeah.
And it's just a little tiny thing, and it works.
What if your battery doesn't work? Then you're screwed.
Well, you're screwed. But at least if your battery is still operational, and your tires are the air pressure in your tires is down, you can pump it up a pound or two, and you're ready to go.
All right.
Until they lose air again.
When you get that little exclamation point with the looks like a kind of a donut.
Yeah.
With, I don't know, like it almost looks like one of those ghosts in the Pac-Man.
You're right. It
You
does.
know?
Yeah. Huh.
With like a ghost penis in the middle of it. If Pac-Man ghost had a penis in the middle of it, that's what that tire light would look like.
If that were the only penis inside your car.
And you know what? Now anybody who's looking at that will never be able to see it a different way again. Why do you think
thanks for doing that.
Why do you think Miss Pac-Man was introduced? So she could gobble all those up. A Chicopee woman has been arrested in Springfield in connection with a crash in which a police officer was struck by a vehicle. Springfield police spokesman Ryan Walsh said that around 4:15 p.m. on Saturday, a Springfield police officer was conducting traffic control at the intersection of State Street and Main Street outside of the Mass Mutual Center. The officer was conducting pedestrian motor vehicle traffic. Springfield police said that the suspect, 30-year-old Taisia Williamson of Chicopee, was stopped at a red light at the intersection and was in a lane where she was not able to make a left turn onto Main Street. The officer conducting traffic told Williamson she was unable to turn left, and Williamson allegedly ignored the officer and turned left anyway. Williamson was alleged to have struck the officer while turning, with the officer landing on the hood of the car on impact.
What?
She then drove away. Springfield police say that at approximately 6:45 p.m., Williamson was found by the officers on the 100 block of Broadway Street in Chicopee, and she was arrested. The officer that Williamson allegedly struck with her vehicle experienced minor injuries as a result of the crash, and she's charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle, reckless operation of a motor vehicle, and failure to stop for police. You know what? You just go around the block.
It's not that hard to do.
But I guess if you don't have a license, I guess it really doesn't matter to you.
But if you don't have a license, then you should be following the rules of the road and police officer instructions maybe more closely than anybody else.
Well,
because, see, you don't have a license to operate the vehicle.
This was a reject from the Steve Nagle College of Criminal Knowledge. We didn't let her in because she didn't have a valid ID, A.
Yeah, right.
B, she just wasn't following the rules. It's kind of like a puppy. You bring a puppy to a class, so like one of those obedience classes, and the puppy doesn't listen, they will kick the puppy out. They will.
Well, this woman is just not perceptive enough to follow any kind of rules.
The victim of a deadly shooting on Oakland Street in Springfield last week has been identified. The Hampden DA's office states that around 11:30 p.m. on January 12th, officers were sent to the 100 block of Oakland Street for a shot spotter activation. When officers arrived, they found an adult man suffering from gunshots. The victim was taken to Bay State, where he died due to his injuries. The victim has been identified as Samaj Brewster of Springfield. The shooting is being investigated by the Hamden DA's office in conjunction with the Springfield Police Detectives Homicide Unit. Let's try to end on something happier, I think.
Yeah, that's a good, be
Cops
good.
getting hit by cars and people dying.
Good to switch it up every once in a while.
How about on the morning of Friday, January 10th, police in Alabama were called to a Starbucks. I didn't even know they had Starbucks in Alabama.
Sure we do.
Someone's pet monkey had jumped from its owner's car into the drive-through window and started attacking an employee. The primate was an Atus night monkey. They have big eyes and appear earless.
Okay.
The employee says she never interacted with this female customer before. She said that as soon as the woman lowered her window, the monkey leapt out of the car, through the window, and started gnawing on her hand. I said good story, right?
Is this before or after the monkey received their coffee?
Well, I mean, a large hand bite for, what's his name?
For Mr. Giggles?
Chuckles? Yeah. The monkey's owner did come inside the store to check on the employee, but wouldn't leave her name or information. The employee was taken to a hospital where she got multiple stitches and vaccinations. Her ear was in rough shape, but she'll be okay. The police identified the monkey's owner as Tammy Gardner. She refused to comment to the media, saying that she didn't want to put her pet at risk. She just wants to put a Starbucks barista at risk.
She also didn't want to ruin her Starbucks points on her courtesy card.
Right. For what it's worth, she reportedly had the two monkeys in her vehicle. She had two monkeys. And other employees said they've seen her with multiple monkeys before. They say she's often has them wearing leashes, costumes, and diapers. Is that all you get a monkey for? Just to dress it up in like a diaper or like a little hat?
No, I mean, they do other things too, but that is the cutest part of their day.
The police are investigating, and Tammy could be looking at charges, but they didn't say what those may be. According to information by Animal Services, she's been cited for 2 municipal violations involving not restraining the animals. There's got to be a limit to... you shouldn't be able to even own these things. Cat, dog.
Every state has got different laws.
Hamster, gerbil, guinea pig, iguana, whatever. Fine. You keep those are like the least ones amount to likely to cause problems.
Right.
But a monkey
At a coffee shop?
I know, right? Maybe it was all the caffeine. Is that drinking that blonde roast they got over there?
That'll keep you up all night long. No wonder that monkey's so rambunctious.
I'll have a double monkey chai latte. Venti. Please.
No more monkeys sitting in the drive-thru.
Yeah. What do you can't give a monkey espresso. That's like the worst thing you can give a monkey. They're already wild.
I know. Listen, I'm sure the monkey is nothing more than an innocent primate.
Yeah.
But if the barista mess up the order, the monkey is really no different than a human being.
You realize they didn't have any banana smoothies at Starbucks. They meant to go to the Shake Shack because they know the Shake Shack has the chocolate banana smoothie.
Right. Now that monkey's going to be up all night.
Oh, man. You got to please the monkey. Now that monkey's going to be spanked. That's the problem.
And
You don't want to spank the monkey.
there are people who are out there who see you spanking the monkey. That's going to cause problems.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, sunny with a high of 17. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 27. It's -8 in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 6:50. And Jimi Hendrix of Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
Mostly sunny today with a high of 17. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 27. Again, it is -8 in downtown Springfield.
Tomorrow on the show, where it's going to be a Thunderbird Thursday on the Bax and Nagle show. Tune in around 7:45. We'll give away a prize pack that includes 4 hats, 4 koozies, and 4 tickets to Saturday's game against Providence at the Mass Mutual Center. It's a Thunderbird Thursday tomorrow here on Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Just reading a story out of Florida. A former deputy has resigned amidst an investigation into an incident involving a patrol vehicle crash allegedly caused by his distraction with pornography on his phone. According to working the beat, that's what he was doing.
Sure he was.
According to reports
Rigorously.
From the sheriff's office, the deputy's actions led to a violation of professional standards, including the misuse of electronic devices and failure to wear a safety belt. Oh, he's fighting that one, though. The incident took place close to Sorrento. I don't know where that is, but just before 2 p.m., the deputy rear-ended a vehicle. That means two things. And that had stopped due to a school bus with activated lights in the opposite lane. Initially, the deputy claimed his brakes malfunctioned due to recent speed calibrations, but subsequent investigation revealed a different story. Upon reviewing the dash cam footage and body-worn camera recordings,
Oh, my God.
investigators noticed the deputy was holding a cell phone in his right hand moments before the crash. Despite initially stating he was checking work-related text messages, it was later discovered he was actually viewing inappropriate images or videos on his personal phone. Further scrutiny of the footage revealed that the deputy did not remove his seatbelt before exiting the vehicle, indicating a deliberate attempt to conceal his actions. Despite attempts to deflect blame towards technical issues, the deputy eventually confessed to the true cause of the crash, his engagement with explicit material on his phone.
You know, body cams, dash cams, for all we know, this may have been a police-issued cell phone.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place. When you're on patrol, probably not the time nor the place.
During the investigation, the deputy admitted to viewing, quote, pornographic material on his personal phone, leading to a lapse in attention that resulted in the collision. He acknowledged that his behavior, including not wearing a seatbelt as a tactical choice, was a violation of departmental policies. Moreover, the deputy disclosed personal struggles, citing a challenging year and ongoing depression, medication use. That's always the go-to excuse. I'm sorry, I'm dealing with depression, because this job is so hard.
This is the only way I can work it out.
The only way to get me some serotonin boost is by looking at pornography while I'm driving a patrol car down the street at 40 miles an hour.
Now, here's the thing. Now, you're a man, right?
I'm a man. You know who else is a man?
Who's a man?
You're a man.
I'm a man.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at pornography, I'm looking at stuff that appeals to me. Mm-hmm. It may not be the stuff that appeals to anybody else. My question is, does everybody in the police department know what kind of pornography he was looking at?
I don't know.
Because there's a lot of crazy stuff out there, and if you have your brothers and sisters in blue understanding what kind of pornography you're looking at, it would be very hard to go back to the office after your suspension.
Your brothers in blue balls? Is that what
That's right.
Thing? Yeah. Moreover, the deputy disclosed personal struggles. Yeah, the deputy. Despite the revelations, the former deputy has not faced any criminal charges at this time. But
never mind the criminal charges. What about the public ridicule and scorn from the rest of his union brothers?
I was doing official police business. I was watching a video with Miranda Wrongs. She likes it right and left and every other which way.
It says here that you were caught red-handed with some hot and horny housewives.
All right. I would say only out of Florida, but we had a guy doing that in the parking lot of an ice cream shop here in Enfield. I guess when the mood strikes.
Yeah, and he never let the cone melt, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, at least they're using their billy sticks on themselves now. Good times.
It really, honestly, isn't it the truth?
Hey, by the way, the Get the Let Out show has been rescheduled.
Oh, good.
So,
great news.
I had to end it with a public service announcement. That was just a little too rough for everybody.
It's 6:56 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Well, folks, congratulations to former baseball great CeCe Sabathia, Billy Wagner, and Ichiro Suzuki on their election to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. They'll be joined by Dick Allen and Dave Parker for the induction ceremonies this July. Sadly, news not so great for Manny Ramirez, Carlos Beltran, and Dustin Pedroia, and several others who did not receive enough votes from the Baseball Writers Association of America. And while there's still a chance they may get in someday, it's certainly not going to happen this year or anytime soon. Nevertheless, it should be pointed out that both CC Sabathia and Ichiro were both selected in their first year of eligibility. Wagner, on the other hand, who played a fraction of just one season in a Red Sox uniform, was on his 10th and final year of eligibility. You see, to get in, you need 75% of the vote. Sabathia received almost 87%. Wagner, 82.5%. But Ichiro, who finished his career with 3,089 hits and a lifetime batting average of .311, and is the first Asian-born player ever elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame, received a vote total of 99.7%. So, out of the 394 ballots that were cast for this thing, Ichiro fell one vote shy of a unanimous vote. In other words, there was one card-carrying member of the Baseball Writers Association of America who decided, hey, you know what? I don't think so. I'm going to give my vote to somebody else, perhaps far less deserving. Folks, if you happen to be a member of the Baseball Writers Association of America and you're staring at a ballot with largely unqualified names written all over it, and you choose to ignore the guy who is most qualified for induction, could it be possible that either you don't know anything about baseball, or is it possible that you're just being a jerk? Because I honestly can't see a single reason why you wouldn't vote for that guy unless you were a spiteful, bitter, hostility-fueled jackass with an axe to grind. And if that is the case, then perhaps somebody needs to review your credentials. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Hey, it's cold out. Are your furnace filters clean? You don't want to be sitting there in the cold with stuff blasting all over you. You know what I would do if I were you? I'd go to Rocky's for pleated furnace filters. Buy one, get one free. Don't make your furnace work any harder than it has to. Replace your filters today. 2 for 1 at Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock.
Classic rock. It's almost 7:09 in Journey with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's pretty cold out there. It's going to be cold for the rest of the day. Sunny and a high of only 17. Tomorrow, sunny and a high of 27. So at least we're warming up. We're getting ready for a heat wave here. It's -8 right now in downtown Springfield. I think last week I mentioned this. I think it was Friday I mentioned it. There was a guy on the Westfield Community Forum, and he wrote something that was kind of creepy in a way.
Yeah.
Because I think he was actually looking for the person. He was like, to the chick that kept nodding at me in the CVS, call me. So then I wrote, well, you know, you guys could have a love connection, and we could do this Lady and the Tramp style. Come to a dinner and a comedy show for $20 over at the Shortstop Bar and Grill on February 6th. And since that guy's original post, there's all these people now, which I always think it's funny when everybody can get in on the joke.
Right.
There's all these people posting this stuff. Well, one guy said, hey, I will take up Steve Nagle's deal to pay your $20 meal at the Shortstop Bar and Grill, and then you can plow my driveway after.
It's a good deal.
And so all these people are using the Westfield Community Forum as a misconnection. To the cutie at CVS yesterday, I waited for you, but your receipt took too long to print, and I had to get home to avoid the traffic jam on Union Street. With all the Westfield love in the air, I need people to keep in mind we have speed limit, and then people go into normal stuff.
Right.
But for anyone falling in love at CVS, don't forget to order some royal icing cookies for your loved ones. And there's people promoting their businesses now because they get it.
Yeah.
They know that when I put something on there, there was a thing about, there was a story on 22 the other day about cryptocurrency. And I said, I don't accept cryptocurrency, but a much better deal is by paying $20 for a dinner and a comedy show on February 6th at the Shortstop Bar and Grill.
See, it's that kind of shameless self-promotion, which actually sparks a lot of action online.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're like talking about what's this you say about a comedy show and dinner at the where?
At the Shortstop Bar and Grill on February 6th.
In Westfield.
Yeah.
The one that's close to the Walmart.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
The one right next to the Walmart.
Well, right next to the Walmart. Well, you would think that anybody in Westfield would want to just go there on a first date. I mean, you see some at the CVS. They're waiting to get their vaccine of something or a booster because of some potential disease they could get.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, you know what? That's a damn fine looking man over there. Why don't I wink while I'm holding onto my, I don't know, say my adult undergarments or my as I grab my prescription for all those herpes sores I've been breaking out on. I mean, what a great way to meet people.
It is.
For our love connection.
And you know what? Finally, a community forum that has people coming together. That means two things. In such a way where nobody's arguing with each other. You know, usually you go on there and you see people arguing about things, and, you know, this is keeping the peace in Westfield. That means two things as well.
How you doing? I'm good. Could you direct me to where I might find the anti-lice cream?
So, there was people, and the guy who originally put the post up finally removed it. I think he was getting a little too much shame.
That's too bad.
Well, not shame, but clearly everybody was making fun of the man for trying to use this as some sort of love connection thing. And then all these people, this guy posts a picture of the outside of the CVS. It says, "To the guy who nodded at my wife, message me."
Yeah.
It's nice when people can do that and use it as a dating site.
You know, we haven't had a whole lot of people point us in the right direction in some of these community forums. Like, you know, a while back when you had that lady getting all hot and heated because a dog was, soiling her front yard in Wilbraham. Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun to make fun of that lady.
It was.
And and every town has got one of these forums. And it would be nice.
Every town has got one of those ladies that would like to voice their opinions on things.
And we're just a two-man operation. We don't have a producer to scour the internet for us.
The listeners are our producers. They're the ones that alert us to this.
Well, this is my point. Wouldn't it be great if maybe some of you could direct us to these community forums when things start going amiss?
Yeah, you can send us links, and even if you were not Facebook friends, you can send the link, via email. Or we'll be able to get it.
You can also cut and paste it onto the Route 10 Tire listener line and fax us, text us.
I have noticed, though, ever since that whole East Hampton debacle, that there are some community forums that won't let us in.
I don't know why.
We keep getting. I will never be able to get into the East Hampton one. Apparently, somebody who runs that must be friends with the French Queen, Mère La Chapelle, over there.
Well, let me see. East Hampton Community Forum?
I can't get into it. I tried joining a million times, and they just keep rejecting me.
That's just not that's not right. You're like a local radio icon, for crying out loud.
Well, they always have questions like, what's your association with this town or that town? And I always say, I'm the media. I'm part of the media.
Yeah.
And they don't. I think to them, when they see who it is trying to get in, they go, "Yeah, you're the Trojan horse, is what you are."
All right, so
I'm
going
to exploit us for our misgivings that we have on our few forums.
Do I want to get into the East Hampton Mass group page or the East Hampton Mass Friends and Neighbors page?
I don't remember. I don't remember what it is. They change the names of them all the time too.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna see if I can get in.
I bet you'll be rejected.
Well, I didn't answer any of their questions, but I listen. I've been through East Hampton.
Yeah,
I've shopped at the Big E Market. I've been there. I've done my time.
You know what's even worse?
What?
Next Door. Do you have that app?
I did, and I found it annoying, and I deleted it.
And then Next Door, it was like. Asking me, hey, can you put an emergency contact down? Like, for me to go any further with their app. I'm like, what? What do you need? No, because it's another one of these social media apps that they want people to, to give away all your information.
And share my location and stuff like that.
I don't want to know that. I don't want to know if I'm next door or I'm the next town over.
You're not getting access to my contacts. You're not getting access to any of my private information.
I just I find these forums quite amusing. That it just gives people. Some people just post things. I think just to get people agitated on purpose.
Do you remember when Mass Live used to have their forums and news stories had, like, you could leave comments on every news story?
Yeah.
The only reason I ever started going on to Mass Live at all was because of those things. Because you could leave comments, and oftentimes the comments were hilarious.
Not anymore.
And they stopped doing it because they felt like, people aren't paying attention to the news. They're paying more attention to the comments because they're more interesting. Well, I still go to Mass Live because it's like, what else am I going to do? But I don't enjoy it half as much.
I was banned from the Western Mass News page years ago.
Really?
Years ago, before the new ownership took over, and nobody ever took my name off the block list. And it's the weird thing is we're like a media partner with Western Mass News.
And you're still blocked?
I'm still on the block. I cannot comment on any of the stories, but I can see other people's comments. It's not like everybody's blocked from that. Because I would do the same thing you would do. I would go on and say something to either tick somebody off or not purposely. I would just be the jokester. See, the class clown coming through.
See, I even had like a phonied up handle, like a username that would no one would know who Mr. Forest Park was. Yeah. But I would leave some terribly inappropriate comments all the time.
You're talking about the Mass Live forums.
Yeah. I had a great time with that. But even on Facebook, when you have community forums and they post stuff but don't accept public comments, your page sucks.
My name was Nagle 201 because nobody would figure it out who I was.
What a clandestine choice.
It's like that band Rock 201.
Yeah.
Like we don't know that you're trying to take off the name here of the radio station because they.
Is that what they're trying to do?
Yes, that's exactly what they're trying to do.
It never occurred to me.
Yeah, Nagle 201. Nobody ever figured out it was me.
No one knew who Mr. Forest Park was either.
I do miss those days. The anonymous postings, and it was always those were like industry people going, especially in that TV and radio one.
Yeah.
Who gives a crap? Nobody cared about the TV and radio forum except the people who were in TV and radio. Yeah. And it would just be a bunch of anonymous ones of us writing things back and forth to besmirch the other.
You know who turned me on to that stuff early? Dan York. When Dan York was in town.
Oh, my God.
I know. It goes that far back. Dan was still in town.
Dating yourself.
I know. And he and I were out somewhere. And, Dan and I always got along great. And he said, hey, man, have you been paying attention to the Mass Live forums? Like, no, they got forums. He said, you got to check that out. And so the next thing you know, I'm checking out the Mass Live forums. And doggone it if Dan wasn't correct on that one.
Damn.
I know. I go that far back with this stuff.
You made a name for yourself, a fake name for yourself. Being Mr. Forest Park.
That was the birth of Mr. Forest Park.
Now that I remember Mr. Forest Park writing some really nasty stuff about me.
Oh, sure.
Why? Why would you do that?
Oh, I did everything.
Yeah, I did too. I don't even remember what the handle was that I had.
Yeah.
I was joking when I said Nagle 201. I don't remember what the handle was that I had on there.
But wasn't that really the fun of the whole thing? I mean, that was the whole fun of social media. Is making comments and then you're causing problems in a post, and then watching it all blow up.
Well, it still happens, and now people just use their real names when they do it because they don't care.
Yeah, now it's okay to be outed publicly like that.
But I seriously hope this guy finds his love connection in the Westfield community forums. I mean, he's caused enough interest for everybody to start posting these things, and. I had written one last week about, hey, just announced speed dating at the Shortstop Bar and Grill on February 6th, and also a $20 dinner and a comedy show. And I said, now there's just a disclaimer, there's no actual coordinated speed dating. It's just we have a pasta dinner that you can eat Lady and the Tramp style.
Yep.
Perhaps maybe even nod at each other.
And you can pair up before the show.
Yeah, you can pair up before the show and enjoy a great dinner and a show for $20.
It's a great deal.
Can't beat that deal.
721 on Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 727, and the Rolling Stones of Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Sunny with a high of 17 today. Sunny with a high of 27 tomorrow. It is still a lovely -8 in downtown Springfield.
This week on Baxi's musical podcast, my guest is Steve Smith from the band The Vapors. Remember the song Turning Japanese? Mm-hmm. Back in 1980, 1979, around there?
I really think so.
I think so, too. Well, anyway, the Vapors are still together. They got a brand new record that's coming out in March called Wasp in a Jar. It's wicked good. And they're going to be coming to the Bosch Theater at the Wang Center on August 1st in Boston on the Lost 80s Live Tour. It's a tour that includes Big Country, Flock of Seagulls, General Public, Josie Cotton, and those guys, too. And it's going to be a great show. And you can hear that interview on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, rock102.com, and on the Rock 102 app. It's all brought to you by Metro Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee and Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Today's National Hot Sauce Day.
Oh, thank God.
Who comes up with this? Is it just like the industry, industry experts on hot sauce go, hey, you know what? We got to really ramp up sales today. Let's make a whole day about hot sauce.
You ever see The Godfather?
What's that?
The film, The Godfather?
You know what? Never liked it.
All right.
I hated it.
Okay. There's a scene where there's a meeting of all 5 families, okay?
Yeah.
And Don Corleone is kind of heading this thing up, and they're all talking about how they want to get into narcotics.
Yeah.
I see these kinds of situations dealt with in almost the same exact way, where you get the heads of the 5 hot sauce families getting together, trying to negotiate what day should they all agree to pick out for National Hot Sauce Day. Because it can't just be like, Frank's Red Hot picks a day, and all the other ones are like, okay, I guess we'll follow along. I got to believe it's like a negotiated, settled, deeply thought out day where they all said January 22nd.
Is Hot Sauce Day.
Hot Sauce Day.
Well, ironically, number 1 is Frank's Red Hot.
Of course.
Yeah.
I could drink that stuff like out of like a shot glass.
It's the top choice in the Northeast, most of the Midwest, and a bunch of other states across the U.S. It's number 1 in 28 different states. Berman's hot sauce. I don't think I've ever had that.
Never had it.
It's I guess it's from. You can get it at Aldi's. Can you also get Aldi's hot nuts?
Uh-huh.
Hot nuts in your mouth? You
Yes.
ever have Aldi's hot nuts in your mouth?
I have had Aldi's nuts.
Louisiana brand hot sauce, 5 states: Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, and of course Louisiana. I would hope so. Cholula.
That's a good one.
Yeah, 4 states: Utah, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. And Texas Pete. Did you ever have Texas Pete in your mouth?
I have had Texas Pete in my mouth.
All that burn from Texas Pete.
I've mixed it up with D's nuts from Aldi's.
The hot D's nuts from
Yes.
Aldi? Aldi's hot
Aldi's
nuts in your
nuts
mouth?
mixed up with the
Texas Pete.
Texas Pete.
3 states: Virginia and both Carolinas. Despite the name, it's actually been made in North Carolina since 1929. Why I call it Texas Pete then? Because it came from Texas?
Maybe.
3 different sauces got 1 each state. Tabasco was number 1 in Hawaii. You ever see the story behind Tabasco and how they grow the pepper? It's on an island down in Louisiana, which is probably the crops aren't doing too well right now.
Sure.
But it's like an island, and they're secretive. It's been a family-owned business since its inception, and they're so secretive about not only how Tabasco is made, but how their finances.
Really?
Yeah. And it's still like one of the number 1 selling hot sauces in the country, in the world.
And they don't have to have full disclosure of how they do their business?
No, but it's a really interesting documentary. I don't know if I saw it on Netflix or something, but I'm sure if you Google it, you can find the documentary about Tabasco sauce. But it's pretty interesting how they've kept it such a secret for such a long time. It's not a publicly traded company. It's not, it doesn't fall under, and they haven't sold out to another brand. They've been offered many offers, and nobody's taken it.
Look what Colonel Sanders did to that recipe for the chicken.
Colonel Sanders. Wait, you know what? He wasn't even a real colonel.
He wasn't?
No.
Are you sure about that? He wasn't, didn't have a military background?
A military of what? Chickens?
I don't know what branch he was in.
Well, what wing of the Colonel Sanders?
See, now you're
Army?
trying to make chicken jokes. I hear I'm being serious.
Well, and this was run by Instacart, so I'm sure Frank's Red Hot said, "Hey, if we could pay you a few extra bucks on the side, could you make sure that we're number 1 in your most wanted hot sauce?"
But put Tabasco down at the bottom. No one knows what's going on over there.
You know what? Frank's Red Hot and a little bit of butter and some Parmesan cheese. That makes a great wing sauce.
Oh, yeah, I bet it does.
You toss it right in the sauce. You ever
Yeah.
toss your sauce?
I've tossed a few things.
A little from under cheese?
I sure have. No. But I have tossed my share.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm glad we got to this conversation.
I am so excited about it.
Feels like the Dave Coombs days again.
My God. for the
What's
love-
your favorite hot sauce?
No.
Who do you like to have in your mouth, Texas Pete or Frank?
We got news next to Rock 102. 7:35 at Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. It's brought to you by Aqua Pump. From the well to the pump and into the house. There's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Well, thanks, Bax. A dangerousness hearing was held for a wereman.
Wereman?
Who's facing several charges, including rape, kidnapping, and sexual contact with an animal. 34-year-old Michael Stanikmas from Ware has been found too dangerous to be released on bail following his arrest on those charges. He was arrested on January 13th after an investigation conducted by Ware detectives and the troopers from the state police unit of the Hamden DA's office, according to the Ware police. He was ordered held without bail following his arrest earlier this month. And, I'm not even going to get into the charges there because it's a little too much.
Actually, it's a lot too much.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised this guy was deemed dangerous, considering.
Well, I mean, combined with all of the charges together,
Yeah, I mean, none of the charges, I take that back. A lot of the charges individually are awful.
All
but
of them
combined,
are. Yeah.
You just go, how is this even possible?
It's compounding it all together. So he will not be released anytime soon.
Nor should he.
Crews worked to put out a fire at a school bus parking lot in Wilbraham Tuesday morning. Started just before 1:30 a.m. near 2043 Boston Road in Wilbraham at the Wilbraham Bus Garage. When the 22 news crews arrived, they could see smoke coming from multiple school buses as first responders continued to put out any embers. Oh, my God! We're not going to have school today! Yay!
It's a 2-hour delay.
The Wilbraham Fire Department stated that 4 buses were on fire. Due to that fire, there was a 2-hour delay for the Hamden School District, for all of Ludlow Public Schools, and the St. John the Baptist School in Ludlow. At this stage, the morning's fire does not appear suspicious, but the exact cause remains under investigation, according to Chief Andrews. No injuries were reported, and no workers or community residents were in danger. The cause of the fire is being investigated, and 22 News will supposedly update you.
Okay, sure they will.
Well, I mean, they like to say things that they don't mean. And what they'll do is they'll just reiterate what they said in the first paragraph of the story.
Or what they'll say is, hey, if tomorrow's a really light news day, maybe we'll get to more information. If we've run out of things to talk about, maybe we'll get to the old stories.
A Chicopee woman.
Steve, I believe it's pronounced Chicopee.
I don't know. Yeah, I heard Chicopee people referred to as chickabillies, which I thought was pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Chickabillies.
Yeah.
It's either Chickapeople or Chickabilly. I think Chickabilly sounds pretty
I've heard
good.
it referred to as Chickabama a couple of times.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Chicopee.
Yeah, but it doesn't really sound like a southern town. But neither does Chickabilly, I guess, either. But I guess there's certain parts of every town that has, or city that has a...
I hate to cover the whole town with a broad brush. There's lots of great things about the town of Chicopee.
I once heard that once when I was, I don't even know where I was. They were referencing Westover Air Force Base. I think I was down south somewhere.
Okay.
And they referenced Chicopee, Westover Air Force Base in Chicopee, Massachusetts.
Boy, would they be embarrassed when they figure out that's not the pronunciation.
Well, anyway, that woman has been arrested in Springfield in connection with a crash with a police officer was struck by a vehicle. Ryan Walsh from the Springfield Police said that around 4:15 p.m. on Saturday, a Springfield officer was conducting traffic control at the intersection of State Street and Main Street outside of the Mass Mutual Center. That wasn't at the truck, or was it the hockey game?
That was Monster Trucks.
Was it? I don't remember what day it was. Anyway,
Saturday and Sunday was Monster Trucks. Sunday, I believe, was hockey.
The officer was conducting
Monday was hockey.
Pedestrian and motor vehicle traffic. Springfield police said that the suspect, 30-year-old Tasia Williamson of Chicopee, was stopped at a red light at the intersection and was in a lane where she was not able to make a left turn onto Main Street. The officer conducting traffic told Williamson she's unable to turn left, and Williamson allegedly ignored the officer and turned left anyway. And then Williamson was alleged to have struck the officer while turning, with the officer landing on the hood of the car on impact. She then drove away. I'm assuming the officer fell off the car and she didn't drive him along as a hood ornament.
I would hope not.
Springfield police said they if you aim for the police officer in the middle of your hood, You can see which lines. Isn't that what the hood ornaments were for? Used to be.
Just to hang on?
No, you line up the hood ornament with the lines on the side of the road, and that's how you knew you were staying straight.
That's right.
Wasn't that the whole?
That was part of it. Although I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong about this because it's been a long time since I really read the rules. I don't believe you're supposed to line up that hood ornament with the police officer in front of you.
No, but you can then use the police officer, I guess, for the line you up on the side of the road.
Perhaps.
Yeah. I think that's when you learn you shouldn't have taken a left. Williamson was found by officers on the 100 block of Broadway Street in Chicopee a few hours later. The officer that Williamson allegedly struck with her vehicle experienced minor injuries as a result of the crash, and she's charged with all kinds of stuff. But she had no license. And I don't know why you would bring even more attention to yourself if you're trying to avoid being caught for having a license. But I guess if you don't care, she looks like a bad girl.
She looks like the kind of girl that doesn't care that he doesn't have a license?
Yeah, she looks like she wouldn't care.
Nah. She's going to learn a valuable lesson.
Like what?
Get your license.
I don't think she's really going to learn that lesson. They're telling you not to, because of these frigid cold temperatures, you don't need to warm up your car. We've heard that before, right? Wasn't it Mike Quincy who told us that you don't need to warm your car up?
Yeah, but nobody likes to sit in a freezing cold car.
I guess, but how are you, I can't get in a freezing cold, if your windows are frozen, then you should warm your car up, should you not?
I think it's an engine issue. It used to be like you want to warm up the engine. Not necessarily No,
I get that.
But that's no longer necessary.
But if your windows are frozen, you have to warm up the car because you shouldn't be driving with an icy windshield.
Well, that's the part that I don't think the story has anything to do with. I think it's all about whether the engine it runs inefficiently if it's too cold.
All the cold weather across the U.S. has this topic trending. You don't actually need to let your car warm up. Years ago, it was a good idea when the temperature dipped. Old-fashioned carburetor engines had to warm up or they could stall. But unless you've got a classic car or a rust bucket, there ain't no need to do that no more. Carburetor engines got phased out in the early 90s, and modern cars with fuel injectors warm up really fast, like 5 seconds, according to AAA. Again, warming up meaning the engine is warming up. That doesn't mean the car is warm on the inside. The only reason to let newer cars warm up is for comfort. If you need to crank the heater and let the windows defrost, you should go for that. Other than that, it just wastes gas and causes more wear and tear on your engine. You know what? I'm in violation of that Massachusetts idling law almost every single day.
In this weather, sure. A lot of people do.
I'm not warming the car up. I understand about the mechanics of the vehicle, but I'm not going to be doing that to not let the car warm up.
No. I mean, nobody wants to sit in a freezing cold car. Like you, and I told you this morning. I let that thing run for 15 minutes before I went out and got into the car. It was so cold, it was like it did nothing.
I once had a 1992 Chevy Corsica. You remember those?
Cherry.
Yeah, it was maroon.
Of course.
Yeah, and the heater went on that thing. So I would use tea candles to defrost the windows in the car. Because even those little plug-in heaters didn't combine with the plug-in heater and the tea candles along the dashboard. It was like I was doing a seance trying to get that car warmed up. But it worked. It worked enough. It worked enough to defrost the windshield.
How long did it take you?
Like 3 hours. But but you didn't have to idle it for that long. You just light the tea candles and you walk away.
Now, was there anything on the dashboard that held these tea candles in place?
No, you just and listen, the tea candles were so cheap back then. You could get probably like 20 of them for like $1.
Yeah, right.
And you put them in, you line them up on the dashboard. And sometimes when you really wanted to you put all 20 there.
Yeah, nowadays they got these, these LED tea candles. They don't do anything.
No, you're never gonna get it. There's no heat off those.
No,
you got to use the actual thing. I wonder, though, if I had Yankee candles, would they have defrosted the windshield a little bit faster?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And they would have made your car smell terrific, too. Like, this car smells just like fresh cut grass.
or new car smell. You could get those at Yankee Candle.
That's
the
correct.
New car smell.
That's right.
Or November Rain. I always think that's when I was in my Guns N' Roses
phase.
mood. Yeah.
I understand that.
But that was the way to warm the car up. Well, it wouldn't warm the car; it would just defrost the window. The little heater that would give you the little blast of heat.
Yeah, I had a car where I had to actually use the ice scraper inside the car.
Yeah, well, that was the back in the day.
Yeah, and I'd only do like a 6-inch, space on that window.
I think I heard something about that. If you have frost on the inside of your windows, you have some sort of leak somewhere.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
the moisture shouldn't be inside the car. The moisture should only be outside the car.
It wasn't a great car,
Yeah.
and it had other problems too.
But you know what? I really, now in hindsight, I should have been charging. It was like those candles you see at a church where you light the candles. If I had just charged $1 for every person that wanted to light a candle, light a candle for a prayer or in memory of someone, I could have made enough money to actually buy a heater vent for that car.
I'm surprised votive candles never were considered to be a good manufacturer option.
You know what? I miss the way things used to be in this world.
Sometimes starting a fire in the car is the only way to warm it up.
Well, it was effective.
Sure it was.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, sunny with a high of 17. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 27. It's -6. Ooh, it's warming up in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
John Hazen here.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 7:53 and Billy Idol with Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
Cold, very cold today. Sunny with a high of 17. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 27. It is -6 right now in downtown Springfield.
Steve, as you and much of our listening audience is already aware, we are giving people a chance to win an Amazon Echo Pop. I'm going to give you a code word. You have until noon today to enter that code word into rock102.com. Later on this afternoon, we will announce our next winner. It's your chance to win an Amazon Echo Pop from Rock 102. Today's word, Steve, is the word stream. 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 As in, today's code word is the word stream.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right, good luck to you.
Wow, I'm glad you used that so nicely in a sentence.
Well,
very
I mean,
eloquent.
did what I
its
could.
Brevity. Yeah.
This just came down the chute, and I'm a little bit surprised, like I'm sure many of you will be. Big announcement on 22 News. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Get a load of this.
We go this morning. We have some really big news to share.
Speaking of the end being in sight, and it's morning like this that really make you think about it, but I will soon be retiring. I've been sitting on the desk in the morning.
What?
For 18 and a half years. As many of you know, I did sports for 18 and a half years, so it really was in the middle of my career, but I will be retiring soon in June, and it's like I said, mornings like this, as you both know, it's not easy getting up.
Not easy.
When you get in your car and it says -10 outside, it's like, wow, this hurts.
Yeah.
And it does.
Ah,
Whatever.
Rich
Whatever,
Tedder
Rich.
is hanging it up.
6 months? Come on. Why don't you do it during sweeps week?
You know, he's going to be retiring officially on June 6th.
Yeah.
Listen, how he goes out and takes his victory lap, that is completely up to Rich Tedder. He's deserved it. He's a wonderful broadcaster.
Will he ride off on a golf cart like Dave Madsen did?
But then return to work the following Monday as if nothing ever happened?
Well, it's you don't want to let anybody know you quit. You just act like you were just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
What are
work there every
talking-
single day.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Matt's still got an office over there.
Right.
If it were me, I'd probably announce it on June 5th.
No, you're going to, I know, because you're already announcing the days. How many days left do you have on the calendar?
2,426.
I don't think you're going to make it that long.
Theoretically, I could make it that long. It's not that long from now.
We work in radio.
Yeah, I know
You're
that,
not going to
but
last that long.
Tedmer worked in television. That's every bit as flimsy of a industry as we are.
It's a little bit more stable. You always see people in television say goodbye. You never see people in radio say goodbye. You're just out the door one
yeah.
day.
Usually it's, what happened to that guy?
You know what? I cleaned out my office a few years ago in preparation of, you know what? The end will come soon, and I just don't want to have to. I want to be able to just walk out the door with a bottle of water.
Since you don't really have a desk that's got stuff to empty.
Well, I had a lot of little trinkets and things like that I collected over the years, but then I got rid of it, and I even sold that Kim Kardashian poster for charity purposes.
I remember that.
Yep.
But congratulations to Rich. He absolutely deserves it. Like I said, he's turned into a hell of a broadcaster. I got a lot of respect for Rich, so congratulations to him.
Wow, I have a completely differing opinion on the man.
Well, I don't care what your opinion is. I'm trying to be respectful of a guy who has put in his time and has served this community as an anchor and a sports guy for nearly a generation or so.
Well, you know what it is? Like I always say, there's people out there that either love us or hate us.
Right. And
I'm sure that, there's probably one guy out there that's like, you know what? Good riddance to that Tedemer guy. He sucked.
You think you can't please everybody?
No, but I'm just saying.
I mean, I got plenty of people out there that can't stand my guts.
There's people out there that can't stand my guts either.
But that's the way it goes.
And they still listen for some reason.
Every day with a notepad, scratching notes so they can call the office line at all hours of the day to leave their bile-fueled complaints.
I've always wondered that. If you don't like me that much, why do you listen? Why do you keep listening?
Some people have a real easy time insulting the hell out of you.
Yeah.
With absolutely no second guessing themselves at all. Like they feel somehow they're entitled to talk bad of anybody. Me, you, Tedemer.
Well, I mean,
not so much Tedemer. He's on his way out in June.
I can take it though. People say stuff to me all the time. When I used to have a lot of. I actually was talking about this off the air yesterday. The people that used to make your fat jokes.
Yeah.
And then now that I'm not as fat as I used to be, now it's like, well, we got to pick something else to make fun of this guy. So they make fun of my head that's shaped like a cone. So then I get all these GIFs on Facebook with Beldar. Is it Beldar? Was it name?
The Coneheads.
The Conehead.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I can see where your priorities stand. You just need to you need to say something.
Well, then, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. That's why I've been talking nice about Rich Tedemer.
Well,
nothing bad to say about the guy.
I actually don't mind it. I really don't. Because it just shows you what kind of person they are.
Right.
To keep doing that. So keep doing it. It's charming. It's charming and it's flattering.
It is.
Because again, you hate me so much, yet you continue to interact with me.
Yeah, I don't mind you not hating me, but at least listen.
Most people will get away from their abuser.
I will tell you this: those that abuse the most aren't going to get any special favors for that Amazon Echo Pop for the next couple of weeks. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, I don't really think they care about that.
Maybe not.
I guess not.
Anyway, congratulations, Rich. It's just about 8 o'clock on Rock 102.
Caller. And now, Bax's View from the Couch. Brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters. Before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? As you know, we live in a world where nothing really matters unless you can post it as an Instagram reel or on TikTok. Everything beyond that is largely irrelevant. So when you're innocently doing things like putting yourself at great physical risk or acting like an idiot in a public setting or behaving in a way that lends itself to widespread mockery, then you can assume that somebody somewhere is going to get it all on video and launch it online for the Chinese government to use against you. This is why, if I were the head coach of a top 20 Division I college basketball program, I would probably ease up on some of my most potentially viral behavior. For example, last night, UConn Huskies head coach Dan Hurley was caught on camera berating an official late in the first half for failing to call a foul during their 80-78-point win over Butler. Now, in fairness, this sort of verbal blow-up is not exactly new territory for Dan Hurley. Red-faced sideline tirades are practically his calling card. However, during this exchange with the official, Dan Hurley made the following statement, and I quote, "Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best effing coach in the sport." Now, I'm no expert in these kinds of things, but that's a sort of notable quotable that could follow a guy around for a while. Because you see, one could argue that in fact, he is not the best effing coach in the sport. He just happens to be the one that the cameras followed. After the game, Dan Hurley explained that he wished that they would show other coaches losing their minds at officials, and that he was simply trying to establish a better line of communication with that particular referee. Dan, listen to me. I'm pretty sure that if you were the best effing coach in the sport, the official would already know that. But even the best effing official can walk away from the best effing coaches when the best effing coaches are acting like big effing idiots. And that's why everybody in America is watching the video of you and your possibly bloated ego losing their minds against an official last night, whereas Butler's head coach, Thad Matta, who was losing the game, did not. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You know, $20 get you the 20-ounce DeWalt Ripclaw hammer. It's the $20 tool sale at Rocky's. Ripclaw deals on hand tools, DeWalt, Craftsman, and Milwaukee. Nail the best deals on on the tools by going to Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:12 in Whitesnake with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Very cold out there today. Sunny with a high of only 17. Tomorrow, sunny. Things start to warm up with a high of 27, and the low will be only 9. The low right now, -6 in downtown Springfield. It is quite the odd this year for the weather. As this story out of USA Today, a rare southern storm that smashed snow records from New Orleans to Pensacola was rolling out to sea Wednesday after encasing in ice in a snow region not targeted by such severe wintry weather assault in generations and leaving disruptions in its wake. The storm's impact will be felt for days in southern cities not accustomed to the deep freeze that has gripped most of the nation this week. More than 130,000 homes and businesses were without power Wednesday across Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. The dig-out, so common in the nation's northern tier, was underway in Ernst. From Ernest or Ernst?
Ernst. Ernst is a German fellow that wears lederhosen at a restaurant.
I thought Ernest was the guy who saved Christmas, or used to talk to that guy Earl all the time.
No, that's that's the comedian Jim Varney.
Ah, okay. From Texas to Florida, while challenged by a dearth of plows, residents were urged not to try going anywhere over the iced roadways. I turned on the internet this morning and I get a video of a lady in Louisiana on Bourbon Street, and they're like, "Have you ever seen snow on Mardi Gras decorations? Like, it's crazy."
Yeah. I mean, the parts of Louisiana, 11.5 inches. Alabama, 11 inches. Mississippi, 9 inches. I mean, these people, us here in the north and the northeast in particular, we look at a snowstorm like that, we mock it. We laugh at its big fat face. In the south, they are completely unprepared for anything like this.
You know, one of the things that I read yesterday was about, like, some people have, there's quite a few pickup trucks down south.
Sure.
But many of them don't have four-wheel drive. They're sold without the four-wheel drive because it's unnecessary.
So to plow a street or a driveway is virtually impossible.
Right. So you got all these people who, and I'm not talking about like the true Southerners. They probably got four-wheel drive going through the mud and the muck and all that stuff. But a lot of people who own like these SUVs and stuff don't have four-wheel drive to get anywhere. So you're at a standstill, especially when something like this happens.
You're slipping and sliding and falling all over the place.
They don't have a lot of plows down there. They don't have salt trucks. They don't have any of this stuff because they've never really needed it before.
Now, I got a friend of mine. I got a buddy.
You got a buddy.
Who grew up in Massachusetts. He and I were good friends in high school. He now lives in Alabama. Okay, he's been living there for years. Now, he hasn't seen significant snowfall ever. I think the most he's seen since moving down there is 2 inches of snow, which is nothing. Nothing.
2 inches.
He posted a picture yesterday, which I thought was really kind of sweet. You know, he took his experience here living in the Northeast and in Alabama. He is showing his family what can be done on days like this. Now, try to imagine this. He posted a picture last night. You see 2 footprints in the snow, okay? And then in front of these 2 footprints is a big, beautiful yellow heart.
Oh, he
He's a romantic, and he's showing his family, at least the woman he loves, who he met in the South, what can be done on a terrible day like today when you got 11 inches of snow. Now, people in the Northeast, we've been doing that forever. You can write your name. You can write out the Declaration of Independence.
Dog does it all the time.
Of course. Yeah. Of course, the dog's penmanship isn't quite legible. But for a guy like my friend, who we went to the same high school, we were like lab partners together. Here he is showing his love and his predilection for romance in the snow in Alabama at this difficult and costly time.
That reminds me of a great joke about President Richard Nixon, who, they had this major snowstorm in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And he's looking out the window, and he sees in the snow, it says, "Nixon must go," in urine. It was written in urine.
Really?
And then, Nixon's like asking, hey, who did we find out who did that? Yes, we did. And then the chief of staff goes, "Yes, we did, sir. It is written, in fact, in urine. Unfortunately, it's Pat's handwriting." His wife.
Pat Nixon.
Never found out who did it, but somebody else, she was writing it in the snow with somebody else's junk.
That's hilarious. Yeah. See, these are the things that the people in the South don't, they can't experience this thing. Instead of snow angels, if they get a snowman, it's probably no more than like 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
That's all they can do. Now they get a chance to enjoy what we've all grown up with.
Why? Why would you want that? The whole reason why you moved down south is to not experience that kind of weather.
Yeah, and so meanwhile, we're up in the Northeast going, I'm glad I'm not them.
My sister, who lives in Atlanta, sent me a video last week of them sledding down the hill in her front yard, which they have never been able to do, and now they can do it. Isn't that weird? It's weird how, I don't know, what is it, global warming or whatever that, causes these issues, but it's like a once-in-a-lifetime event. You're probably not going to have this for a while anyway.
Well, in fairness, we haven't had a whole lot of snow in the last couple of years either. The last couple of seasons.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of reversing. Well, I mean, this is probably the first significant snowfall we've had, in probably a good year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah. And
that has stuck around. Usually, if it snows here in the last few years, it's gone the next day.
Yeah.
Remember we had like 70-degree temperatures in the middle of January about 3 years ago?
That was awesome.
It really wasn't, though. There's something about it that kind of makes it like, what is this? I don't like, it makes the ground all soggy, and you can't really enjoy the nice weather when it's like that.
Yeah, but I'm not really an outdoorsy type. I'm the kind of guy that sees snow and wants to stay in and be all cozy. That's how I enjoy it. But my friend, here he is doing little memes in the snow. How beautiful.
Well,
brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, well, did he make a snow penis yet?
No, not yet, but that's coming.
Well, that's got to be that's the next big thing. I think we should stop making snowmen and just start making snow penises.
Didn't you make one last year?
I didn't make a snow penis. I made one in the snow.
Yeah, you just
I kind of shuffled my feet along the ground and drew it on my driveway, and then I shoveled it away.
Oh, you shoveled it away? Really? I would have kept it.
I don't know. It just it's only.
Were you self-conscious about what you had done?
Well, I didn't want anybody overhead.
Wait, you were worried about drone activity?
Well, no, but I mean, you get a guy like the state police helicopter. I don't want them thinking it's the barracks. Hey, when did we move that building?
We're going to get some overtime on this one.
Is that more of the Karen Reed trials being held?
Here, give me your phone.
Yeah. Get your phone. Take a picture of that. Yeah.
It's 8:21 at Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:29. And Aerosmith with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Sunny with a high of 17 today. It is -6 in downtown Springfield.
Hey, real quick, this just came in. Yesterday, the Patriots announced that they hired Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator. This morning, it's being reported that they hired a defensive coordinator, Terrell Williams, the defensive line coach for the Detroit Lions. He worked with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee a few years back, and so it looks like he is the defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots for next season.
All right.
All right?
Oh, there you go.
And if we were talking to Zolak tomorrow, that'd probably be something we'd bring up, but Zolak will not be joining us. The season is over, and he's moved on.
Well, I mean, he's probably on the couch.
Of course he is.
I think he was on the couch most of the time.
I think most of the time he was. Even when he wasn't picking up his phone, he was probably asleep on the couch.
Well, if you only got to work one day a week.
Well, he has another job. He's got another broadcasting job.
He does?
Yes, he does.
Oh.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
I know.
Yeah, how about
really
that?
something, isn't it?
You think I'd have another job?
You would think so, but
Yeah.
if you play your cards right, you may need one.
Well, I'm sure things will happen the way they should.
We got news coming up next to Rock 102. 8:33 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. This just in. Bax has been denied entry into the East Hampton Facebook community forum.
I just got this.
Yeah.
Your request to join the East Hampton MA group page was declined based on not answering all membership questions, and person has not agreed to group rules.
But even if you had answered all the questions, you were still not going to get in.
I didn't have any chance at all.
Frigid temperatures throughout the area, across the country, actually. As we were just talking before, there's snow down in the south, right on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. There's about 8 inches of snow down there.
And my friend left a heart of gold in Alabama.
Yeah, the bars are still open though. You can trench through the snow and still get as cockeyed as you want to get.
You got to get warmed up somehow.
That's right, and nothing better to do that than a nice big shot of 151 rum in your Hurricane. The proposal for a new courthouse in Springfield was approved by the Asset Management Board Tuesday with one no vote from the Inspector General.
The Inspector General said no.
Well, he had a reason. According to the news release from the Inspector General Jeffrey S. Shapiro's office, he had voted against approving the Springfield Regional Justice Center proposal out of concern that the bidding process will not be fair and competitive. I do not dispute the need for a new building and that current courthouse poses health and safety risks to those who must use the building. However, numerous public statements by public officials dating back to 2022 seem to be steering the proposal to a specific site and developer, which could have a chilling effect on competition. I hope that my no vote provides clarity of what must be done to ensure that a truly open, fair, and competitive process results. So he wasn't doing it out of spite.
He just wants it to be a fair process.
Right. The board reviews and approves proposed projects that involve long-term lease of real estate assets held by state agencies. The Massachusetts trial court wants to build a new facility to lease to Springfield to replace the current Ireland courthouse, which has had environmental problems, including black mold. The idea is to acquire at least a space up to 330,000 usable square feet for an initial lease term of 40 years and then 2 10-year extension options for a maximum term of 60 years.
Man, 60 years on a lease. I'd rather go month to month.
60 years. For 60 years, they were so nice.
Everything was lovey-dovey.
If you were all worried about the front lease, they were worried about the back lease.
You get none of it.
In September, the Office of the Inspector General issued a report. The Star Store 20-year lease, a lack of shared vision and collective accountability, waste millions in public dollars, was the name of the report. That's a long name for a report. Identifying problems associated with long-term lease agreements between the state and a private developer. So that's all the information we have on that for now.
So we haven't really settled on a site yet, right?
No.
All right, so that's going to be part of the process. Mm-hmm. Coming up with a site and then getting someone to build it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan.
All right.
Let's see. Let's go down to Connecticut for some news. This guy, a man was arrested for breaking into a home and threatening to kill a victim, according to police in South Windsor. Police identified the suspect as 46-year-old Jose C. D'Souza. D'Souza was charged with second-degree burglary, third-degree assault, and second-degree threatening. He was arrested on Sunday around 2:50 a.m. on the strength of a warrant. Police said D'Souza's charges stem from a February 2022 domestic violence incident during which he unlawfully entered the victim's home, grabbed and assaulted the victim. They also said he threatened to kill the victim. D'Souza was taken into custody by the Waterford police and turned over to the South Windsor police custody. He was then held on a $50,000 surety bond. He was scheduled to appear in Manchester Superior Court yesterday. but we don't have any update about that. Also, I don't know why we don't get these stories on the Massachusetts websites, but this is a Massachusetts story. A Massachusetts woman is accused of assaulting 2 high school hockey referees. The reported confrontation happened after an intense game earlier this month. A woman is seen on video cornering 2 referees as they get off the ice at Foxborough Sports Center. Officials said the mother of one of the players ended up assaulting the veteran refs and police had to be called. I've seen this kind of behavior, sadly, for many years now. Hockey Nana Lynn Rozek said, this type of behavior is unacceptable. Other hockey parents and officials agreed, but said they weren't surprised by the bad bench behavior. Win or lose, we're trying to teach these kids how to be good people. This is disappointing, hockey mom Brooke Daniels said. At the same game, a Taunton man was thrown out for verbal abuse. According to the National Ice Hockey Officials Association, these types of assaults and harassment against sports officials are on the rise. The problem is getting worse. Somebody from the Mike Ober from the association said, we have to do better as parents. You've got to do better. Please stop. Let the players play, coaches coach, and refs rep.
All right, 2 questions.
Yeah.
1, how much time should you get in the penalty box? And 2, was the other team able to take advantage during the power play?
Yes and yes.
All right, good to know.
Yes, yeah,
good to know.
I don't understand. These people get so into these, games, and I've witnessed it. Being a parent at softball games and things like that.
Oh yeah,
where these people who just get so into it that they all think that their kid is going to be going to play major league sports someday, which might be the case.
It might be, but the likelihood is infinitesimal.
Mm-hmm.
And when a kid is playing, like soccer at 5 years old, or like a U10 game or whatever, no one's getting college scholarships at that point.
Yeah.
So settle down. On the other hand, if I were a parent and I were paying what hockey parents have to pay for their kids to play hockey, and there were things going on in the game that I wasn't happy about, I would feel like I would be slightly entitled to express my opinion. Maybe not to confront an official and threaten violence. Maybe that would be a little bit more of an I should perhaps introduce into the conversation. But nevertheless, that's an expensive sport to have your kids involved in. And I can see being a little agitated if things were not going your way.
But even if it's not all sports are expensive. If you look at the price of sporting equipment for any sport right now,
right?
It is a little ridiculous of how these companies gouge how much a mitt costs or something as simple as a bat. You can spend anywhere up to $600 for a baseball bat, which is ridiculous for a kid. But that's the going rate for a lot of these things.
I know.
And but to get so into something and you taking exception to a bad call, listen, bad calls are going to happen. It happens all the time. People are human. They're going to either make bad calls or they could be bad refs or whatever it is. But you take that up the diplomatic way and file a complaint again. If you think that somebody is so bad at doing their job, you can also file a report with the sports association.
Have you ever noticed that you don't see this same kind of behavior from parents, from kids who are like on the chess club or the math team, or some parent getting all up in someone's grill because some kid didn't win the science fair?
You know what? I was at a Western District senior band concert last Saturday at Minnetonka.
Yeah,
I didn't see one person get up and want to smack a tuba against the maestro.
Yeah, no kidding. You were off pitch.
You were off by one note. You don't even know how to teach these kids. And you're right. Can you imagine that kind of behavior happening at any other kind of?
Why is it sports parents? How about if your kid's not athletically inclined, but maybe academic? Where's the outrage for something like that?
I've never been to a school play either, where like a parent is yelling from the audience. That's not the line.
That acting. It's not believable.
It's not out damn spot I said. It's out damn spot I say.
You're right. I've only seen in my entire life. I've only seen one parent act up at a school play, and that's because they may have been drinking before the curtain.
I've also seen parents that go beyond just typical encouragement. Like, there's nothing wrong with cheering on your kid or cheering on somebody else's kid at a sporting event. But to yell corrections to your child in the middle of a game, like, you see some of these kids that are really good, and you can tell the kid hates the sport, even though they're really good at it.
Oh yeah,
you can tell they hate the sport because their parents are yelling from the sidelines criticisms of, "We didn't talk about you. We know we talked about that." You're in the middle of a game.
I told you the story of my two cousins.
Yeah.
At like a I think it was like a middle school basketball game.
Yeah.
And my cousin Paul was the referee for this game. But my other cousin, and I'm going to leave his name out of this discussion for various reasons, was
it Peter? Was that the one robbing Peter to pay Paul?
No. My other cousin, his son was playing in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my cousin in the stands was screaming at his kid the entire game.
Yeah.
Screaming. Now, again, it's a full gymnasium.
Yeah.
Your middle school basketball game. It goes on. My cousin Paul warns the guy and says, "Hey, dude, settle down. You're being, out of control."
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Gotcha.
Game goes on. He starts screaming again. My cousin Paul goes up to the guy and says, "Listen, I'm not going to tell you again. If you're going to act this way, I'm not only going to kick you out of here, your team is going to forfeit the game." Well, guess what happens? My other cousin does it again, and without hesitation, my cousin Paul throws him out, ends the game, the team loses. I mean, it's like he didn't. One warning should have been enough for any reasonably minded individual. But my other cousin has never been capable of that, and so he just continued to badger his son and humiliate him in front of the entire audience.
Yeah.
And that was it. You're out. You lose. So long.
Yeah. There is a line that you cross when it goes beyond the encouragement.
Yes.
It's not like, all right, man, or like, even if the kid has a bad play, all right, next time, you know what I mean? Next time we, whatever. That's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay to keep encouraging your kids. But when you're getting so into it, like you're watching some NFL game or some kind of, hard-hitting thing, I'm sorry, your kid's not going to become pro just because.
No, there was no chance of that.
Yeah, it's a little too much and you're a little too into it. I told you the story. My sister, she was trying to be encouraging to the other kids on her daughter's softball team.
Okay.
And all the kids had their first names on the back of their jerseys, right? So then this one kid comes up and she's like, "Come on, Cho Lee. Let's go, Cho Lee." And everybody's looking at her like, "What the hell are you doing?" It's Chloe.
Good job, Choli.
Well, I mean, she was doing the right thing by trying to offer support, but it was a huge school district, and there's so many kids on the team that you can't remember all the kids on the team. But to say Choli,
there's no pronunciation guide they give everybody.
Come on, Choli,
before tip off.
Let's go. Come on, Ron. Let's go. Your Pioneer Valley forecast. That was that whole. What was it?
Jack Quellen.
Jay Quellen. Jay Quellen. It's Jacqueline. Oh, believe. Key and Peele. That's
Key and
the name
Peele, one of the all-time great skits.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be sunny with a high of 17. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 27. It is -4 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Ah, yeah.
Leah, it's 8:54. and Van Halen with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be very cold today, if you haven't noticed already. Sunny with a high of 17. It is -2 right now, and it's warming up. I mean, it was -7 when I came in here this morning. Now it's -2. It's a 5-degree increase. I can definitely tell the difference.
I got 0. I got 0 over here.
Can you imagine if we had those 60-mile-an-hour winds during this?
Ugh.
That would have been like -30.
It's
That's
awful.
crazy.
Hey, this week, tomorrow, in fact, Thunderbird Thursday with the Bax and Nagle show. Tune in around 7:45. I'll give you a chance at a prize pack that includes 4 hats, 4 koozies, and 4 tickets to Saturday's game against Providence. It's the Hometown Heroes game. It's tomorrow, Thunderbird Thursday, from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Thunderbird Thursday. You know what? It's weird when the hockey rink is warmer than the outside temperature. Usually when you go in there, people are wearing sweatshirts because it's cool in there because of the ice on the rink.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep that cold. You imagine going in there, taking your sweatshirt off because it's actually hot inside the Mass Mutual Center.
Comparatively speaking, yeah.
Compared to what's outside.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, unless the Arctic weather breaks by Saturday, that if you were to walk from the MGM parking lot to the Mass Mutual Center, there's a chance that you could freeze in place.
Yeah, there is a chance you can.
Very good chance.
That way.
With these kind of temperatures, dying for that new parking garage to open.
I got a survey.
Hold on a second. All right.
Someone posed this question to straight men online. If you walked into a room with 1,000 single women around your age, how many of them do you think would be attracted to you? 42% did not have high hopes and said between 1 and 25 of the women. That's like 0.1 to 2%.
Right.
24% it said it's a little higher between 26 and 74 of them. That's 2.6 to 7.4%. 10% said a notch above that between 75 and 99 of them. 15% said they'd turn heads. 100 to 200. That's being a little confident in yourself.
No kidding.
And 14% said they'd be fawned over, with more than 200 of the 1,000 women being attracted to them, which is more than 20%. In the comments, one person said, if I walked in right now, 0, but if I had a chance to shave and dress up a little, maybe 5. And there were several men who lacked any confidence and commented on the fact that there wasn't a 0 option, but one man said, for better or worse, women are a lot more pickier than men. If I walked around a college campus, I would find at least half of the girls attractive enough to date. How old are you, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's creepy already.
I know. I want to know the age of that guy. If you were like 21 or 22, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But
I'm a single man. You're a single man walking into this room?
Yeah.
All right, so you are single.
Single. Yeah.
See, I mean, if I'm just walking into the room, I'm going to believe just based on looks alone, the percentages are not that favorable. I almost have to rely on my personality, which is like the worst possible thing I could do.
It's all the way you carry yourself. Now, I might have a chance just walking in alone to have a decent percentage of people say, well, he might not be a completely horrible-looking, knuckle-dragging Neanderthal.
Yeah.
But once I pull the Sweet and Lows out of my pocket, which I take with me everywhere, by the way.
Yeah, right.
And my Velements.
I would think that every time I got up a chair and sounded like everyone's grandpa, that would probably knock a few percentage points down.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. I was like, you can find somebody attractive on the surface, but it's the actions they do afterwards. Oh man, he rolled up in the minivan. He got out of the car. He walked into the Applebee's. And in order to make his homemade Sprite, he ordered a seltzer with lemon, and he took 2 Sweet and Lows out to make it palatable.
It seemed to have so much promise until I realized how flatulent he was.
Look at this. Look at this poor soul. He needs a geriatric van and a bag full of diapers. Maybe I can find love at CVS out in Westfield.
And he doesn't have kids.
Yeah. Ooh, look at him. Look at him. But that is like an old man. I feel like I was born like an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah.
You know
well,
what I mean? Like I was destined to be. They call me an old soul, if you will.
I think if you're grabbing the sweet and lows before any other kind of sweetener, you might have aged yourself.
Listen, everybody's got their thing.
Yeah, you need your sweet and lows for your Sanka, and and to watch Sheriff Lobo on
Listen,
reruns.
I've been using denture cream before denture cream was a popular thing. Been just walking around, just using all these old man stuff. Got my cane with me. Got to keep you propped up. Maybe a knee brace or two. Come on, gal. Who wants to go to Who wants to do the Charleston with me this weekend?
Hold me before we start dancing. Let me readjust my inserts.
Yeah. It's a bully kind of day. A bully.
It's 8:59 at Rock 102.
Your Echo is ready.
The Amazon Echo Pop is like the new radio for your home with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Very cold out there today. High of only 17. It's -4 right now in downtown Springfield.
You didn't mention this before, and you probably won't mention this in Hollywood Trash. Garth Hudson from the band died this week at the age of 87. The band. He's the last surviving member of the band. All those guys are in that band.
Oh, Robbie Robertson is dead, too.
Robbie Robertson is dead? Yeah, all of them.
Yeah,
He's the last one.
Is he going up Cripple Creek without a paddle?
I don't know, but party on, Garth. Party on.
They were a good band, the band.
They were.
Yeah.
They were for all the bands that were named the band, they were probably the best of the bands.
I think they were from where? The band from where?
Don't really
sure
know
about that?
I don't know. All I know is that Garth Hudson dead at the age of 87.
Somebody, the guy from Whitesnake died too.
John Sykes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Yep.
That is true.
A lot of lesser-known rock stars are dying.
But they're all getting old. That's the thing. These guys are starting to age, and
Was it 2016 was the worst year we've seen so far? It was like Tom Petty and Tom Petty. David Bowie.
Haven't you gotten enough backlash from that thing yet?
You know what? I really find it hilarious that people are so upset about the thing that I do about Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a joke, but it's funny. Because if I have to explain why it's funny, is it really funny anymore?
No. In fact, I think explanation is sometimes the comedy killer.
The idea that somebody who had such a celebrated catalog of music would be seen as this horrible, horrible, horrible person is in itself funny. That's funny. You don't hear people saying bad things about people who like that. This is why we play him all the time. We play the hits here. That's what we do.
That's right.
My annoyance is with how many times we hear Mary Jane's Last Dance or how many times we hear Free Fallin'. I think it's more because I work here that I hear it so often, whereas opposed to many people listening only listen for about 10 to 15 minutes a day.
Right.
Like they're not listening for the entire 4-hour morning show.
Who could?
No, I can't. I can't even listen to it.
Even I got to walk away from time to time.
But, we hear the songs more frequently than the average listener does. But it's just a joke. And I think if you're taking that so personally, then you might need to rethink, I don't know, maybe how your humor is.
Hey, listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, right or wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an opinion. It's Tom Petty would not be one of your top 10 artists. It'd be kind of like there's got to be somebody out there that said at one point in their lives, man, I am so up to here with Mother Teresa. I'm so sick of her nonsense. But she was a beloved walking living saint.
Yeah, but you don't think Mother Teresa ever went into the checkout line and whipped out a check in that 15 items or less lane and had 17 items?
Yeah.
You don't think she ever did that?
Of course she did that.
Yeah, but that's the point. The point is that, it's just, I'm making fun. Like, what else is there? You have to be human. You have to be able to joke, and you have to be able to have a sense of humor about something. And I get it that it's subjective, but to take it so personally.
Some people do take it personally. It's almost like a threatening stance to take and say, I don't like Tom Petty.
But
I never I never was satisfied with his work.
But see, to me, somebody getting so upset about that is probably the funniest part about it. Like, the jokes aren't even that funny. They're just dumb little jokes that I've, trying out.
Yeah.
And they're not that great. I know they're not. But it's funny when somebody gets so upset about it that you make it as if oh my God, I'm never listening to this guy again. This is ridiculous. Really? Over a Tom Petty joke? There are plenty of other things not to listen to me about anymore than a Tom Petty joke. It just seems a little ridiculous that people get so...
Now, could it be said that maybe you're taking that criticism too personally?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I'm not taking it personally. I'm finding it amusing that people do take it so seriously.
It could be one of these tears of a clown thing where you're making other people laugh, but inside you're dying.
I'm crying inside.
Yeah, right.
Perhaps. But, the only reason why I started doing it is in defiance to my company mandate saying we need to create more TikTok videos. And frankly, I think I create much better ones than the ones I create for the Rock 102 page. Case in point.
There you go.
There you go.
It's 9:17 at Rock 102.
Springfield's